Are you ready to expand your life and reality? Join us for the next hour with Jamie Bates as she shares life-changing thoughts, techniques, and awarenesses to help you expand your reality.
Hello and welcome. I am Jamie Bates, consciousness facilitator and expander of realities. My mission with my radio show is to create greater awareness of what is possible and to expand you beyond the limitations of this reality. I am grateful that you're joining me today. And today I'm going to talk about feeling other people's sadness or maybe perceiving their broken heart. This last week, I've had quite a few people asking, what do I do when I feel someone's sadness and it breaks my own heart? Or maybe I feel their brokenheartedness and it breaks my heart. So how do I deal with that? So I know firsthand, when you feel someone else's sadness, it can stick with you the whole day, right? Being energetically sensitive, being an empath, we tend to perceive what someone else is feeling and we take that feeling on, right? We internalize it in our own body. And before we know it, we are sitting in exactly what they are experiencing. So today I'm going to address just that. What do I do when I feel someone else's sadness? What do I do when I feel someone else's broken heart? How can I help them? What can I do to help them shift and change that? And also, what can I do to not internalize that feeling, right? So for today's show, I'm going to break this into two parts. Okay, so first, for this first half of the show, I'm going to talk about how you can help someone with the emotion that you feel from them, right? So I'm going to talk about how, you're in the grocery store and you feel someone's broken heart, or maybe you're with a friend and you feel their broken heart, or their sadness, or you're with a coworker and you feel their sadness. So how do we deal with instances like that, right? And then for the second part of my show, I'm going to share with you how I shifted my own children's broken heart when we had gone through kind of a traumatic situation when I had gone through my divorce. We were really just sitting in a lot of broken heart, a lot of sadness, a lot of upset. And so I'm going to talk about how I shifted that as well. So I'm going to break this show into two parts. So for the first part here, we're going to talk about how you can help someone with the emotion that you feel. And then the second part, I'm going to just talk about how to help, like in particular, my children. Well, not maybe you're not going to help my children, but how I helped my children and how you can use these same techniques to help your own children if you have children, or even help someone um, that you have like a lot of connection with, like maybe a spouse or even a parent. You can use the same technique to heal your own life that I used to heal my children's life, because not only did I heal my children's life with this technique, but I also healed my own life as well. So I'm going to kind of break it into two parts today and talk about those separately. And you guys, I just have to share, I've been so busy kind of putting together a lead program for my consciousness playground. We're kind of making lots of shifts and changes in there. I'm really stepping into this zone of being the conscious empath and really honing exactly the tools that I teach, and even taking my book, these tools from my book, the consciousness or the empath's guidebook to consciousness and awareness, and really kind of breaking it down, creating audios. So essentially I'm making a new lead program for the conscious empath consciousness program. And basically what this program is going to be is, when you sign up or you start it with the consciousness playground, you get in there and it's going to take you step by step through each one of these tools that I teach. It's going to explain why you want to use this tool, how to use this tool, and really how to apply it to your daily life. Okay, so this would be a tool that I have lots of explanation for in the playground. Plus, not only that, but then there's lots of supporting programs. So in the playground right now, there's like, literally, you guys, there's like, I don't know, over 150 hours of audios, and that sounds like a ton, and it really is. But essentially, when you go through the lead program, when you go through the Conscious Empath Core tools, basically it's going to teach you how to use a tool, and then it's going to tell you that, I have these coinciding programs that you can listen to, that will further deepen the experience. Because the thing is uh, if you have any blocks to being able to use these tools, you want to clear those out. And that's a lot of what the audios do in the playground right now, is they help you clear those blocks, those energetic places where you can't access information, and really truly help you to receive your true being. Because that's really what it's all about for me. It's about learning how to receive into your body, because when you become that full spectrum receiver, that's when your life changes. When you don't have anything blocking you, when you don't have anything in the way. And this is what we're going to talk about today. Sadness is one of those things that when we perceive sadness from someone else, one of the things that we do as an energetically sensitive being, right, is we perceive sadness from someone else, and it automatically pings the sadness that we feel in our own life, right? So when we see a little child somewhere and we see their little brokenheartedness, right? We've all been there. We've all seen that little brokenhearted little girl or little boy in the grocery store, or maybe everywhere we go, we see this little brokenhearted boy and girl, and it just like lights us up, right? We can feel that broken heart, and we just feel so deeply for that child. Well, essentially what's going on is it's essentially pinging our own form and structure. Our own storage space of information is being lit up. And so we can identify with that feeling because we have that same feeling stored within our energy, our space, and our consciousness, right? And so it lights that feeling up, and all of a sudden we're feeling that same exact feeling that they're feeling. And we don't really know how to do anything with that, because we feel like we're feeling their broken heart, but essentially we're lighting up our own. So when we clear that space for ourselves, which we're not going to really so much be talking about clearing today we're going to be talking about receiving, but when we clear that broken space for ourselves, what happens is we are still going to see that brokenhearted child, but we're going to have a different tool available to us, because we're not going to feel it in the same way we used to feel it, right? It's not going to feel deafening and heavy and restricting and hard. It's going to feel like, oh, I see you. I can acknowledge your broken heart. I can perceive what you're experiencing, but I don't have to take it on. But I can still help you. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is what tools can you use to really help someone with a broken heart. I'm not sure if you can hear that, but Barry is in the other room and he is having a fit today. It's cold and snowy here in Michigan where I'm at. The kids had a snow day today. It looks like we're potentially going to be getting pummeled with snow for the rest of the day today and potentially through the day tomorrow. So everyone's feeling kind of the caged in feeling today. I feel like everything's on lockdown, and it's cold and snowy, and my birds really perceive that. They go kind of a little bit of stir crazy, which is weird because they don't ever leave the house anyways, right? But when there's experiences like this, Barry in particular is very, very sensitive to the weather. So he may be screaming through the show. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So let's go ahead and get started today. So let's start today by taking some nice deep breaths. Yeah, let's put our barriers down, our barriers down, our barriers down, our barriers down. And let's go ahead and expand out and make yourself as big as the city that you're in. Go all the way out and all the way down and all the way up. And if you've never expanded before, basically what we're doing is we're expanding our being, not our bodies, right? We're expanding our being out to the space of who we be, because we are a being and we have a body, and our being is infinite amount of energy, space, and consciousness. And so today we're just going to expand out, get into our being, because that's really where we can truly make the real changes, is in our beings. So we want to be in that true space. So go ahead and make yourself as big as the country that you're in. Go all the way out and all the way down and all the way up. And go ahead and make yourself as big as the state that you're in. All the way out and all the way down and all the way up. I think I just did that backwards, didn't I? I think I said country and then state. I'm all messed up today. So let's just go ahead and go back out to as big as the country that we're in. Yeah, all the way out and all the way down and all the way up. And let's go ahead and make ourselves as big as the planet that we're on, as big as planet Earth. Let's go bigger and faster and bigger and faster and bigger and faster and bigger and faster. Nice deep breath in the universe. Yeah, all the way out in the multiverse, multiple universes. Nice deep breath. And times that by million, times that by million, times that by million, times that by million, all the way out to the space of who you be as the infinite being that you be. Let's just really kind of vortex that through and just give you more space, more space, more space, more space, more space, more space, more space. You know, when you learn to live in an expanded space, everything is so much easier, really, truly. I debated about doing a whole show today about being in an expanded space. I wasn't really sure. I know I talk about this all the time, and if you're an avid listener, I didn't know if a whole show about living on an expanded space or living in an expanded space would be a contribution to you. So if you would like me to do a whole show about that, let me know. I was going back and forth with that. I'm like, should I or shouldn't I? Because I don't know. I feel like I talk about that so much. Maybe you're done listening to me talk about living in an expanded space. Or maybe you would truly like to know all of the benefits of living in an expanded space. So if so, let me know and we'll deep dive into that one week. So today we are talking about what do we do when we feel someone else's sadness or broken heart? So I know I just kind of briefly talked here for a moment about how when you shift that for yourself, how it changes the way that you feel it, and it's so true. But also learning how to receive the information into your body gives you the parts and pieces to be able to start shifting that right away as well. And that's really what we're going to talk about today. So when you do the exercise that we're going to do today, it does definitely 100% work better if you are in an expanded space. Okay, because essentially when we do this exercise, we're going to be doing pulling and receiving. Okay. And whenever you pull and receive, when you are in an expanded space, your molecules are bigger, right? So when you pull and receive from someone, if you're in contraction, it's really easy to receive that and internalize it. Okay, and that's a lot of what happens when you perceive someone's sadness or you perceive someone's broken heart, right? What happens is you receive that information because we are receivers. We are full spectrum receivers. We are always receiving information from everyone all the time, right? Our bodies are receiving organs. Essentially, that's what we are. We are big, huge receiving organs, right? Our skin feels, our eyes see, our nose smells, our mouth tastes, our ears hear. We are continually receiving information. Now, what happens is we see someone with a broken heart. We see someone that's really, really sad. And what happens is we feel that information, we perceive it from them. Okay, I'm going to take that feeling word back. We perceive that information from them. We look at them and we instantaneously know that that person feels sad, that person feels heartbreak. And what it does is it lights up the areas in our own body, and then we instantly go into feeling, because essentially we are not feeling someone else's feelings. We are perceiving what they are going through, and then that perceiving energy lights that up in our own universe, and we feel it because we can identify, because we have the same exact form and structure in our own field. Now, as soon as we identify it as I feel sad, right, or I feel brokenhearted because I'm perceiving their information, it becomes ours. Now, when you live in that expansion, when you stay in that expanded space, you can still perceive it. You're still going to perceive that information. But it comes in a little bit different where, especially when you're continually living in expansion and you start receiving all of the time, it comes in differently. So it doesn't light up your field like it used to. It's not deafening, right? Feeling someone else's broken heart is not a deafening feeling anymore. It's like I can perceive it. I know it's there, right? And I can start to feel it in my own body. But the less form and structure that you have, the less solidity, the less contraction you have around that emotion, the less deafening it feels in your own body. Okay. Then when you learn how to receive it, so this is basically, receiving is really, really easy. And it is a really dynamic way to help someone shift their sadness, even if it is a complete stranger. So I actually wrote a couple blogs about this as well, that you can find in my blog section on my website. So if you want to look at the written form of it, you can look at that as well. So if I'm at, let's say I'm at a grocery store, right? And I see this little boy, and I look at this little boy and I can just see the heartbreak in his eyes, right? I can feel it instantaneously. That little boy is brokenhearted. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm expanded, because you want to stay in that expanded space. Okay. So I'm expanded out. And what I want to do is I want to pull pure positive life force energy. And here's key, right? We're going to pull pure positive life force energy. The thing is this world is abundant and pure positive life force energy. There is pure positive life force energy everywhere in this world right now, okay? So I want to pull pure positive life force energy from behind this little boy. I want to pull it through, and I'm just going to do this energetically. Like I can envision it, or I can just give the verbal cue, okay? And I'm going to pull from behind him. I'm going to pull through his little body, just like through the whole thing, through every single molecule of his being in his body. I'm going to pull that pure positive life force energy through him. I'm going to pull it through the space in between me and him, and I'm going to receive it into my body, and then I'm going to pull it out the other side. Okay, so essentially what I'm doing is I'm taking pure positive life force energy, I'm pulling it behind him, through the space in between, and into my body and being, and out the other side. Now, for the sake of this radio show here, why don't you take someone right now in your life that you feel a deep sadness with? Like when you think about that person, you immediately go, oh, they're so heavy on my heart, right? They're dealing with such sadness, they're dealing with such strife in their life. Go ahead, put that person out in front of you, okay? Put that person out in front of you. Yeah, and what we're going to do is we're going to pull that pure positive life force energy. So we're going to take pure positive life force energy from behind them. We're going to pull through that person, through the space in between you, and we're going to receive into your body and being, and we're going to pull it out the other side. Now, the thing about doing this is, I want to just kind of clarify here, you're not taking anything from anyone. Okay, and as I'm talking about this, we're still pulling. We're pulling that pure positive life force energy, and once we turn this on, it's just going to come, okay? So from behind them, through the space in between, into your body and being, out the other side. So we're just allowing this energy to flow all the way through. Okay, we're not taking anything from them. We're not saying to them, hey, I am doing this. All we're saying is we're taking pure positive life force energy from behind you, through the space in between, and we're receiving it into our body. We're pulling it out the other side. Okay, now what this does is it allows you to receive fully from this person. Okay, you're not taking anything from this person. If this person does not want to receive pure positive life force energy, this person won't receive it. Okay, you cannot do anything to anyone that they do not want to have done. We are not causing harm, we are not causing malice, we are not doing anything. Our intentions are pure here. All we're doing is receiving pure positive life force energy from them and pulling it through our body and pulling it out the other side. Okay, so essentially what this is doing is, and I want to explain it like this, okay, so when we perceive sadness in someone, again, it lights up the sadness area in our own body, right? And we instantaneously go to resistance because no one likes to feel sad. No one does. I don't care who you are. We might spend a lot of time in sadness, right? But we don't like it. We don't like to feel sad. We don't like to feel upset. We don't like to feel heartbroken. It doesn't feel good to us. So when we perceive it in somebody else's body, we instantaneously go to energetic resistance. Even though it lights up our body, we feel it. We go, oh God, it just breaks my heart, right? It's so sad. And what we do is we go to resistance, but then we project back the same feeling at them. So what that does is essentially it locks people in their sadness. It locks them in. Just feel that for a moment. It literally locks people in their feeling. Okay, but if I look at someone and I am aware, and we're still pulling from these people that we chose, if I am aware that you are sad, and instead of internalizing it and feeling it in my own body and then projecting it back at you, and I just start receiving it, what I do is number one, I become a receiver from you. Okay? When someone's sad, when someone's brokenhearted, when someone's going through something traumatic or terrible in their life and they're holding on to that energy, more than likely, and I'm gonna say, and if you've ever been in a really sad, traumatic situation, you know that people don't receive from you because no one wants to feel that. No one wants to feel that sadness. No one wants to feel that upsetness. Everyone goes to a projection of, oh, I don't want that, right? And then they tell you, oh, it'll get better. Oh, suck it up. You got to move forward. Oh, all of these things. No one validates the feeling that you're having. But if you sit in receiving from someone, you know someone's sad, you can feel it a mile away, and you sit in receiving with that sadness, what you do is you help them by you received that sadness into your body, even if it's just for a quick second, because essentially when someone's sad and you do this pulling, that sadness comes out really fast and it goes right into your body and then it goes right through the other side, and then that pure positive life force energy is still flowing through. I want you to check back in with that person that we initially put out in front of you. Feel that person for a second. Do you feel how different you feel about that person now? Remember when I first talked about them, it was like, oh God, it felt so sad. I feel so sad and so heartbroken for them. Now it feels different, right? It's like there's not that lingering sadness around that person anymore. It's like, oh, there's a lightness there. That's because you received the sadness and you pulled it all the way through and you gave them a new space. Now, the thing about that is you didn't take their sadness, okay? If they want to be sad or they have a situation right now that is still really, really sad in their life and they're still surrounded by it, that sadness can come easily back to them, okay? You didn't take it from them. But what you did was you shifted the energy around the way that they feel and the way that you are relating to them. Instead of projecting back, oh gosh, you're sad, I can feel it, and projecting back that like, oh, poor you. What you're doing now is you're going, hey, I don't feel poor you about you anymore. I feel like you feel light and free and easy. And that changed your reflection of them. So you're no longer projecting that feeling at them. So then what you want to do is, now that we've received from them and it feels different, now what we want to do is we want to send them back gratitude. Okay, so we're going to send back gratitude. Now what I like to do is I still like to receive. Okay, so I'm still pulling that pure positive life force energy from behind them, through the space in between, into my body and being out the other side. Now what I want to do is I want to take gratitude energy. So I like to envision it like this. I'm going to put my arms straight out. Okay, so from my armpit area all the way down to the tip of my fingers, I'm going to send back gratitude. So my right hand is sending them gratitude back into their body. It's going into the right side of their body. It's pulling all the way through the right side of their body. And then I'm going to do the same thing for my left, right? I'm going to send it through my left side. I'm going to send it into their left side of their body, through their left side of their body. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that gratitude energy back to me. Then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pull it through my body, both sides, and I'm going to send it back. So essentially, I'm creating this like gratitude circle, okay? Where my right side is sending it into their right side, through their body, back into my left side, through my left side, back through my right side. It's just creating this big, huge circle of gratitude energy. And I'm going to send them back gratitude. And if I don't know that person, I'm just going to send them back gratitude. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing to stay here, even though your life is heavy and hard. Thank you for being here. I am grateful for you. So I'm just going to send them back that gratitude energy. Thank you so much for choosing to stay here. Thank you for being strong and continuing on. I have much gratitude for you. Now, if it's someone I know, and just like you just did it to someone you know, send them back gratitude. Thank you for being in my life. Thank you for continuing on, even though it feels hard. Thank you for choosing to stay here, even though you've been, we won't even impart the yucky part, right? We're just going to thank them for staying here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being a part of my life. Thank you for the contribution that you are. And we're going to fill them with that gratitude energy. And again, we're still pulling and receiving from them, okay? So it's there's kind of a lot going on here, right? We're pulling, receiving, we're sending, we're doing all these things. But I want you to feel that person now. Go back to that person. Do you feel how much they've shifted and changed? Isn't that amazing? So you don't have to just save this for people that you know. You can do this for strangers. I do this all the time, okay? I see someone that's, like I see a mom and a little toddler, and the little toddler's throwing a fit, right? And the mom feels I can just feel her overwhelm and her, I just pull and receive, send them both back gratitude real quick. You can learn how to do this so fast and again, because that toddler, that mom's overwhelmed and she just may be projecting at the toddler, oh God, I can't, right? Because, we've all been there. If you're a mom, like it can be overwhelming, and even a dad, right? Kids are overwhelming sometimes. And sometimes we go into resistance without even thinking about it because it's overwhelming, right? So when you take a moment and you pull and receive from that toddler, you change that little toddler's being for a moment. Maybe he just gets quiet for a minute. Maybe he just rests for a second, and you give that mom a little bit of space for a minute. Now, is that 30 seconds going to change her whole entire existence? Probably not. But instead of feeling and identifying and projecting back that, oh, poor you, I'm receiving. And being that space of a receiver changes it, changes you and changes them. Nice deep breath. So on that note, for a moment here, we're going to take a quick break because I'm just babbling on and on and on, and we're almost halfway through the show, and I haven't even taken a break yet or talked about my next concept here. So with that being said, I want you to really think about while we're on break here, how different it feels to relate to that person that we just pulled from. How different. I want you to just think about that person for a minute and just really feel how different just that little tiny bit of receiving from that person changed the way that you feel about that person. When we come back, I'm going to talk about how I use this technique to change my children and change my relationship with them. So have a nice break, and I will talk to you in just a moment.
The Consciousness Playground is a membership community to support you in living a conscious and aware life. Each month, members receive life and reality-changing concepts. It also includes member-only content and a VIP Facebook group to ask questions and connect with like-minded individuals. The Consciousness Playground currently has instant access to over 150 hours of life-changing audios and exclusive programs, with more added each month. Each and every month has a theme and includes audios and live calls around that topic. This playground has audios worth over $1,500 that you can access all at once. Come learn, grow, expand, and create something different in your life today. Frequency infusion meditations are designed to create expansion of being and awareness of self. Lift and change the vibration of your body, places, and things through sound at frequencyinfusion.com.
And we're back. So I want to reiterate real quick for a moment here. Again, we are not doing any harm when we're doing this. I've had a lot of people say to me, well, aren't you, can't you harm people doing this? Is it fair to take people's energy when they're not expecting it? Again, you're not taking anything from anyone. You're just giving them a different possibility. What I feel like we really need to understand is the harm is in personalizing and then projecting back the jail sentence that we're continually giving out to people. What's harming us and what's really keeping us so separate and keeping us so sick and so depressed and so disconnected is that we don't have a connection to others anymore. We deeply feel other people's pain, and instead of receiving it and being one with them and identifying, what we're doing is we're internalizing and we're projecting back that we don't want to deal with that, right? We're feeling people's sadness, and instead of helping them and giving them space to choose something different, we're internalizing it as our own pain and then going, oh, that hurts, I don't even want to think about it. And then we're projecting that same pain back at them, and we're locking people into their sadness, to their heartbreak, to their upset. Receiving from others is probably one of the most kind things that you can do for people. Pulling pure positive life force energy through someone, through a stranger, through a coworker, through a friend, through a loved one is a gift. Receiving someone's energy into your being and saying, it's okay, I understand that you're sad, I feel you, I see you, and pulling it through and out the other side, and allowing them, giving them that space and that presence, even if it's just for 30 seconds, and allowing them to release it, even if it's only 30 seconds, gives them a different possibility. And it's really, truly, in my opinion, the kindest thing we can do for each other. And personally, I feel like, as an energetically sensitive person, I feel like this is how we always should have existed. We learned a different way because it was painful, right? It was painful for all of us, and no one taught us how to deal with the pain. Everyone said, oh, I don't want to feel that, it's yucky and gross. And so at a young age, we learned that when we're sad, no one wants to be our friend. When we're heartbroken, people don't know how to relate to us, when in all actuality, it has nothing, what they're doing is perceiving ours and then jumping into their own stuff, and nobody's dealing with any of it. Yeah, just feel that for a moment. Receiving is really, truly the kindest thing that you can do for someone, in my personal opinion. I would love to hear what your personal opinion is. Share it with me. If you're watching this on YouTube, or you're listening to it on iTunes or Podbean or wherever you're listening to it, comment. Please let me know what you think about receiving and what it brings up for you, and how you felt when you just received from your friend or your whoever it was that you projected up when we talked about this at the beginning of the show. So I said today I wanted to really talk about even how I changed my children's heartbreak, and kind of what I've been talking about all show today. I went through a very traumatic time in my life where I went through a divorce, and my children were young. And the divorce was not what I wanted. And I know that for most of us with a traumatic experience, it wasn't something that we wanted to have in our life, right? It wasn't something we had planned for ourselves. It wasn't within the realm of what we wanted our possibilities to look like. And I know that was true for me. And I was so mad because I didn't want my family to be broken up. I didn't want my kids to, experience life without their mom or without their dad. I didn't want to do this whole, back and forth thing. There wasn't anything that I was looking forward to about being separated. Okay. And so because I didn't want this experience, I know that, like, and I know, having this experience was hard no matter what, but one of the things that I really became aware of is after the divorce, my kids, I mean, I was just devastated, right? I had so much sadness. And every time I thought about my kids, all I thought about was how sad I was for them. How sad I was for them, how they were living this life I didn't want them to live. My youngest daughter was like 2, you know, and I felt so sad that she was going to grow up and not know what it was going to be like for her parents to be married. And every time I looked at her, that's all I could think about was how sad her future was going to be. And this was for all of them, right? How sad I was that they were living in a broken home. How, all of these things. And so every time I thought about them, that was how I felt. Okay. And one day I realized that not only was I stuck in this sadness, but they were stuck in this sadness too. So when I looked at their little eyes, when I spent time with them, I felt so brokenhearted. When I looked in their little eyes, I felt their sadness. I seen their sadness. I seen their heartbreak. I seen these 3 little girls who were brokenhearted. And what I started to realize was what was going on was we were just throwing this energy back and forth, right? I seen them being broken and sad and heartbroken. And so that's all they could ever be for me was that reflection of what I was seeing. And even though we had happy moments, it always returned to feeling bad. But what I was doing was I was projecting that feeling at them because that was how I felt. And so at the time, I started to really go, okay, like I have to change this. I'm literally drowning in sadness and overwhelm and heartbreak and hating the life that I'm living because this isn't the life I wanted. I can't go back and change my past. I can't make my ex-husband love me anymore. I can't make him, we're already divorced at this point. Like I have to find a way to move forward. And so this is the very first tool I started with was receiving. At the time I was already, I was very fortunate in the fact that I was doing massage, I was doing energy work, I was working on people's bodies. I understood that when I worked on someone who was sad, they felt so disconnected from others. They felt so trapped in their sadness. And I understood that their family members didn't know how to connect to them, but they felt bad. And I was fortunate in the way that I worked with, I'd have mothers who would bring their children to me, or, wives who would bring their husbands. And I seen how the dynamics of energy was, how one person believed something to be true, and how the other person projected that truth, and how it just got played back and forth like this, this orchestra of heartbreak, right? And what I realized was if one person received that energy from the other person and they received it in totality without making it right or wrong or good or bad, they could actually change the way that the other person felt about the situation, essentially changing the way that they felt. Yeah, and just like that, it all started to click for me about how energy worked and about how reflections worked and about how emotions and about how all of it worked. And so what I started doing is I started continually pulling and receiving from each one of my kids. And I started sending them back that gratitude energy for thank you so much for choosing me to be your mom. Thank you so much for going on this journey with me. Thank you so much for being strong. Thank you so much for being joyful. Thank you so much for being a child and experiencing life as a child instead of this projection of sad adult that I was projecting at them. And let me tell you what, it was hard at first. It was really, really hard because it hurt really, really bad. But I knew that I needed to receive that. I needed to pull that through. I needed to be something different for them. I needed to not be the mom that felt broken for them all the time. I needed to be not broken for my own life and for theirs. Because they didn't deserve to live a life of broken sadness because me and their father got divorced. They didn't deserve to live a life where it felt like nothing was fair and they always, had to live in this yucky space. And so I did it. And I started to make a practice out of doing it every single day, every night before I went to bed. I would take each one of them, pull and receive, pull and receive, pull and receive. And then I started taking experiences, okay? I started taking experiences where I thought about their past and I felt really sad. Like there was a lot of experiences through my divorce where I seen this reflection of just utter devastation in them. And so I started taking those experiences in particular and I started pulling and receiving. So instead of projecting them out in front of me, what I did was I projected the experience out in front of me. Okay. So I took that experience of being, devastated when they found out we were getting a divorce and we weren't going to be living together anymore. Okay. And I pulled pure positive life force energy from behind it, through the space in between. I received it into my body and I pulled it out the other side. And I just received from that experience. And I sent back gratitude to that experience and said, you know, thank you for still coming with me. Thank you for still moving forward, even though it felt really hard. And I sent love. And, I say gratitude because gratitude is such a great expression, right? Love has so many definitions, it's smaller. So I always sent gratitude because gratitude has this big expression of gratefulness, right? And and so I did this and I started doing this with all of these different experiences and then once I kind of cleared up the energy of the divorce, I went through experiences where maybe I lost my temper. As a mom, especially three young ones, I had lots of experiences where I had lost my temper and maybe I had yelled and, made them cry or, I went through all of those experiences and I pulled and received and I pulled and received. And what I started to notice was I didn't do this all in one day. This was not something I did all at once. I did it every single night. I made a commitment to myself and my children that I would spend every single night just, 5 minutes a night on each one of them, just pulling and receiving through these different experiences. And what happened was the reflection of who they were started changing. And instead of seeing these little broken-hearted, sad kids, I started to see joyful beings who loved to laugh and who loved to mess around and who had these little tiny personalities that were so bigger than I ever could imagine possible. And I started to see them shifting and changing right before my eyes. And instead of hearing things from school like, oh, well, they had a little breakdown today and, my one daughter had a lot of anger issues at school. And, instead of hearing that, she pushed someone, at recess, it was, she made friends and she sat and colored and she had this beautiful smile on her face all day today. And I started to realize that by doing this, I was changing the reflection of who they were. I was taking these experiences that I had stored as painful and I was changing them for me. But what I was really doing was I was changing the energy around the situation as a whole. Because if there's anything that I've learned about energy is it takes two people to identify with a idea in order to make an idea true. If I changed my point of view about the situation and I shifted their point of view about the situation through an energy pull, even if their dad was involved and he's seen it one way, It didn't matter because there was only then one person who identified with the situation being that way, which the other two people had a different idea of how the situation went and the lightness of it. And it literally changed the programming around situations. And to this day now, it's been a long time. It's probably been I don't know, upwards of almost 15 years since I did this. They don't have sad memories about their childhood anymore. Not that even then I feel like they really did because they were so small. But now we have happiness and we have joyfulness and we have giggles and we have fun stored around what it was like to be a kid. And I am aware that I did that because I chose to change the energy around a situation. And you can do that. You can choose to change the energy around any situation. Not only can you change the way that you relate to someone in your life, someone you love, someone you had a traumatic experience with, you can do this with any situation. You can take that situation, you can take that person, put them out in front of you, pull that pure positive life force energy, pull it through the space in between, receive it into your body and being, send back gratitude, and just like that, the situation changes. It's really magic, you guys. It's such a gift to be able to change the energy around something and have the situation change and have their life change right before your eyes. Yeah, so this is just one tool that I teach in the Conscious Playground and the new Core Tools program that is, today is February 26th. The new program will be in the playground any day now. I'm putting finishing touches on. I should have it within the week. By next Wednesday, it should be in there. It should be done. And again, not only do I have these tools that I'm teaching, just like this one, right? But it's going to be all the tools I teach here on the radio show, plus additional ones. And then it'll have coinciding programs. So you can go like, this is a receiving exercise, essentially. Doing this is a receiving exercise. And there's actually in the playground right now, there is the 30 days of Ask and Receive, which is a new ad. We're just adding that to the playground, and that one has 30 different audios to teach you how to receive, and it's really super dynamic. And there's also going in there this next month of March is the Receive Project, which was a whole year program I did, and there was 3 hours a month. I did 3 different audios a month, and that's going to be going in there on a monthly basis. So whenever you join the playground, you'd get month number 1, which has 3 calls. And it just essentially teaches you how to receive. It teaches you how to do these receiving exercises so you can change the energy around situations, you can receive the situation in your body, and you can change the form and structure that you have stored around the situation, just like I'm talking about with like the solidified points of views I had around my divorce. When I received that, I changed the form and structure. I changed the way that I related and looked at what happened to me, and it changed the way that I felt about it, changed the form and structure. So this is like such a healing exercise, and it's literally life changing. Right now, I have big goals for my membership playground, you guys. I feel like the tools that I teach are so life changing. Really, I mean, I watch people's lives change all the time, and I would love, love, love to have you in there. I have a big goal right now. I want to have 100 people in the consciousness playground by the end of March. I have about 70 some people to go. So I would love, love, love if you would join me. It's only $27 a month. And for that $27 a month, you're going to get this core program that I'm talking about that teaches you all of the tools that I teach. I mean, this is really priceless. This is probably a program I could charge, thousands of dollars for. And right now you can join the playground for $27. You can be part of this program. You can be part of the playground. There's so many hours of audios in there. And again, each module is going to teach you a different tool, and it's going to say, hey, if you when you want more information about this tool, about how to use this tool, go here and listen to this program. It's going to point you to how to use the different programs to expand your knowledge on every one of these tools. Because I'm going to tell you, these tools that I teach, they go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. The more and more that you use them, the more and more aspects that you understand of them, and the more and more that you clear the form and structure that's in the way of you truly stepping into having these tools. So this playground is really truly going to help you move your life forward and really step into that energetic receiver that you be, and really have the life that you desire with ease. So please join me. It's $27. You can find information on my website, Jamie, Jamie-Bates, BATES.com. And let's make March amazing, and let's get 100 of us in here. And we have a live call every month that you can join as well. You can talk to me live, you can ask questions in the group. I'm always in for a good facilitation, so please join me. And I hope that you enjoyed this show. If you did, whatever you're listening to it on, whether it's YouTube or iTunes or Podbean or Stitcher, or please comment, let me know what you think about the tool that I shared today and how it helped you. I would love to hear. So thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for listening. I'm grateful for you. You can always reach out to me. You can join me in my Facebook group, The Conscious Empath, and share there as well. I'm always in there sharing. So thank you so much for listening. I am grateful for you, and I will talk to you next week. Have a great day.
You have been listening to Expand Your Reality with your host, Jamie Bates. Thank you for listening.